And we are live. What's up, world? It's your boy C's from the CZLife.com. Welcome back to another episode of the FitPro Development Podcast. Today, I have a coach, of the founder of Inner Strength community. She's here to give us some insights on her journey and in entrepreneurship and personal development. So, without any further ado, let us welcome Coach Mel to the podcast. Welcome, Coach Mel.
Hi. Glad to
So,
be
yeah, thanks for joining. For those of for the audience that don't know who you are, can you tell us about yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what it is that you do?
Yeah. So I am Melanie. I am a fitness and nutrition coach. I am originally from Florida. I now live outside of Boston. I have been in this industry for almost a decade, quickly approaching. And I currently have my own business, Inner Strength Coaching. And then I do a little bit of specialized coaching outside of my business. I work with folks with autism and other sort of disabilities as well.
Awesome. I did a 5-year stint in Boston as well. We have a mutual friend. That's how we got connected. Yeah, Boston is pretty cool. It has a thriving fitness community, like
Yeah,
runners, strength and conditioning, powerlifting, like a lot of like strong and fit people coming out of Boston.
yeah, a lot. The
Yeah,
runners,
so
they run year round. It's amazing.
you're approaching our 10 years, which is like a great feat. We see so many people come into this industry, and that longevity is pretty much unheard of. So, with all that experience, like tell us a story about when you knew you wanted to be a fitness professional.
Oh man. So this is like one of my favorite stories to tell because to me I it's kind of wild and even remembering it then is wild. But I'm like really proud of myself when I tell this story because of like all of the things I had to overcome to get here. Um, so I actually started my own. I would say that I had like, struggled with health and fitness for most of my life until I got to my late 20s. And the time that it really stuck, I had started taking care of my body from a place of like literally just needing to survive, like being like my life was in the. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yes, yes, of
Okay.
course.
So I meant to ask them before we started, but
Yeah, I'm gonna like I've been asked that so many times. Like we're all adults here. Like, yeah, let's get on with
okay.
it.
So like my life was in the shitter. I was in like a dark place, and I had some fight left in me, and that fight was like, you got to start over from scratch. Like the very first thing you should do is just like take care of your body. Like that just seemed like the basic thing that I could do to like get myself going and stay alive. So I started doing that and literally just putting one foot in front of the other every day. I remember having moments of like having to bargain with myself to get out of bed. And it would be like, all right, all you have to do today is go to the gym and work out. And then if you still want to come back to bed, just sleep all day till work or whatever, like you can do it. And, but of course, like those of us who are into fitness know that like once you work out and you get those endorphins going, like you don't go back to bed
Yeah,
unless you're like sick or injured, right?
yeah.
Um, so that was like how I started coming out of that dark place in my life. And as a complete, like I wasn't, it wasn't one of those things where I was like, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to become a trainer. Like, no, it was literally like, I need to take care of my mental health. And it seems like logical to me that the first place to start is like inside. Right. And outside, like, let's work on all of it together. So, about 6 months in, my body started changing. Like, it was noticeable to people, but not only that, but like I was changing as a person. I was showing up in the world differently. And people started asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, can you help me? And at the time, I was a hairstylist. I was almost 10 years into being a cosmetologist.
Wow.
And yeah, so different, but then like there's similarities too. So but I remember having this weird moment of I used to hide in the back of the gym in like this area that it was like a room that was just for women to like work out in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being in there doing my little workout, and like, you know, so many people had asked me what I was doing and if I would share what I was doing and all this stuff. And I had become like a nerd, like a fitness nerd. So I would like, you know, like look up stuff on the internet and like try to learn like as much as I could. And so I just had this moment. I couldn't do a push up. Like, I was not in any way did I like look like I was going to become a fitness professional, but I was just like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Another reason I knew that it was right, like I was on the right path, it's because it scared the shit out of me. I was like, what? Like, this cannot be. Like, I do hair. I hated doing hair, by the way, though. But so that was like, whatever. But I just like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, this is terrifying. And like, this is a culmination of all the things that I love, like health and fitness and teaching and helping people. Like, that's all the things that like I am and have been from like, it's the essence of like who I am, really helping people.
I love asking this question as well because I see so many similarities. You know, often people think that, you know, it's like just going to be like a lightning strike and then you got it. But it's like a journey of self-discovery because one, you discover your inner strength, like your community. And then over time, like you notice first, and then other people start to notice, and then they start to ask you. And then you're like, how do I have authority? Like where? But that's like the how like your journey is formed. It comes from like actually doing, and you're learning by doing, not just like shoving your face in a book. You have to be in the field to actually, you know, get the little intricacies and details that not you can't find in a book, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. So in the course of your long career, like what is a piece of advice or some advice that you needed to hear 10 years ago?
I really needed to hear that you not have to be the fittest or strongest or smartest person in the room in order to help other people with their health and fitness. Someone once shared a phrase with me that like, you know, really resonated. I'm kind of like a book nerd and things that I'm interested in. I like to learn, you know, I like to read all the books about it and things like that. And one time someone told me, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you're really in this industry to help people, then like they need to know that you actually care about them and you're not trying to, you know, force your agenda on them. You're not trying to make them like meet some kind of mold. And you definitely like the egos in this industry are out of control. Like,
Yep.
guess what, y'all? Nobody cares. All right. What you know, how smart you are, all that stuff. No, they want to know that you care about them and that your like ultimate goal is to help them. And like, that's how you're going to get clients. That's how you're going to be successful. And the other thing I would add is hire a business coach as soon as you possibly can. As soon as it possibly makes any sort of sense, hire a business coach or
like reinvest in your business and yourself. Cause like if you're really looking to make a career out of it, again, you gotta like reach out to the people who've been on the path because they themselves got to a point like, yo, everyone, there's not one successful coach that I've come in contact with or spoken to that hasn't that is successful, that hasn't had a business coach. You know, like your business coach or your mentor is going to take you to that other level. Like you can stay stagnant, but if you're really looking to make this a real actual career and a thriving business, you can't do this alone.
No, that's right.
So leading into my next question,
Mm-hmm.
someone that you know, I often say like there's a new coach born every day, right? Like there's someone who got the bug just like you, and they was like, oh man, I fall in love with this, I want to make this my career, right? For someone that's starting out and want a career like yours, what are some things that they should be doing right now?
Go out and get experience. Work with as many different types of people, different bodies, age groups, like whatever you can. Um, for two reasons. One, you obviously, like, all experience is good experience, that you can learn from. And two, you're going to start to learn like who you resonate with the most, like who you like to work with and who is naturally drawn to you. And the second thing is start building your business like as soon as possible, because this industry doesn't care whether you're successful or not. Like big box gyms are not like, hey, we're gonna help you like become really successful. That's not what they're doing.
Hmm.
They don't don't care about you. They don't care if you're able to like meet your potential of like helping people or not. They have their own idea of what, like, trainers should be doing and what they do in their business and everything. And it's great to go anywhere to get experience, but you really need to start thinking about creating something like by you, like building your own thing. And it could be anything. I mean, if you're an introvert like me, then you want to think about like starting something online, right? Because the grind, the trainer grind, as I like to call it,
Hmm.
of like training, doing like 8 to 10 sessions a day, you will burn out so fast. It's
Yeah.
not sustainable.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and just to be clear, like when I say introvert, I mean like I lose energy from being around people rather than gaining. An extrovert like gains energy, like gets charged up.
Hmm.
Um, I love people, which is like why I'm like in this industry. Um, and it's not, I don't see it as a weakness in this industry. I see it as like an opportunity for me to really know myself and to like find the ways that I can balance my energy. So shout out to all my introverts out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You just have to find like what balances your energy. So build
Hmm.
your career online, offline, whatever you choose to do. Just start
Just
like
start.
immediately as you're getting your experience, start doing your own thing.
That's awesome. So no one has have like a long career like yours without any obstacles, right? So for those out there who think this career is like Instagram, TikTok, famous, fitfluencer, like all sunshine and rainbows, like can you tell the audience like what has been the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome over the course of your career?
Yeah, first I want to reiterate that for people who are just starting out, listen, like overnight success takes 10 years. like, like that's it.
You
Like
can't cheat the process. You can't cheat the process at all.
no, it takes time, and you got to go through it, right? And um that's actually part of why I'm amped to be like having this conversation and to put this information out there, because if your podcast had been available to someone like me, like I would actually be way further along with my career, right?
Hmm.
So I think that I think we're gonna take a little deeper now
Yeah,
with
let's
my
go.
answer.
Yeah,
Um,
let's go deep.
yeah, let's go deep. So I think that my biggest obstacles in this industry were dealing with worthiness. So right out of the gate, I did not come from an athletic background, right? Like I grew up I was in marching band in high school, right?
Mhm.
I tried to play soccer and I got hurt and quit. So this is like where I was starting from, right? So I was just like, I have to like change, I have to become an athlete. Um I have to change my body. I need to like get like, super fit and I need to learn all this stuff. I felt because I struggled with my own worthiness, I felt like I had to do all these things in order to like earn the right to help other people. But like I said earlier, that's just not true. Like you can
Mhm.
help anyone no matter how much experience you have, as long as you have a passion for it and you're genuinely wanting to like help people, then it doesn't matter like what you look like, um, how much you know, like it matters how much you care.
Yeah.
Um, so, this really, that struggle with worthiness really took me down like a crazy path, getting into like struggling with, which I know a lot of fitness professionals, specifically female, struggle with this, but it got me into like disordered eating, a little orthorexia, and like all of that ends up being like just distractions from like what it is that you really want, or what I really wanted, which was to help people. But I was so like caught up on like, not feeling like I fit the role or fit the mold of like what I should look like or what I should know or whatever. Um, that it was pretty tough. Like if you can
Yeah.
avoid going through that, you want to avoid that. Like just
Yeah, that's
stay
like that right there is like a major part in the industry where people are like it seems like you got to be forced to like look a certain way in order to command authority in this field or in this profession. Whereas those who do look that way, they're so self-absorbed, right? Their ego take over, and they go all in on their superficial looks and completely abandon the core, which is to help others feel better and look better along the way, right? And that is like that could take like set you back years because you completely abandon what your path was and you just completely get absorbed in like the latest trends, the latest fitness wear, apparel, and all the superficialness where, and then next thing you know you're like 3 years deep in this and you're like go back into seeking self-development help, self-improvement help to get yourself back on track. So if you could avoid, like you said, those pitfalls and just focus on what it is that you got into this career for, then everything else will just take care of itself.
yeah. I mean, you nailed it. I see so many people, and because what ends up happening is that you end up spending so much time literally like in the gym, right? Like it
Hmm.
gets to where you're like you're spending hours in the gym to like maintain your physique, and you're obsessing over your food, and or you're like doing, fitness competitor stuff, which is like almost a full-time job in and of itself. So like
Yeah.
that way, like, you know what I mean? It takes like a really special person, or a specific person to like be able to help people and do that. Not saying
Hmm.
that you can't, but like I think for most of us, it's just not realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a healthy balance. Like just like any sort of other career, you need a healthy balance of personal and business.
Yep.
So like now that we got that out of the way, tell us about what your biggest wins have been.
Yeah. Um, so I would say like with that struggle with worthiness, that I had, just getting my certification was a big win for me, because I felt like, from that moment that I had in the women's studio or whatever until like I actually took my test was like 3 years.
Hmm.
So I was like really struggling with that. So just getting my cert was a big win for me. Um, and the validation was great, right? I was like, oh, I like in some way like feel like I belong here. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, yeah, but unfortunately for me, like it went like that wasn't my cue to like that I was worthy enough, you know. But anyway, so that was a big one. Next was at one point in my career, I was working at a place that I will not mention the name of. As much as I would love to like put them on blast, I'm not going to.
That's fair. I worked for similar places as well.
But it was a gym that was like designed for small group training for women. And group training at that point in my career was like a really big goal of mine. Like it was something that I really wanted to do. It's something that I still love doing. I just don't feel like called to do it anymore. But at the time, like when I first started out as a trainer, I was like, I want to do group training. Like I just love the energy and stuff, which is hilarious as an introvert, because it's like do a couple group classes and I'm ready to go to bed. So I went to this small studio and I was doing, you know, it was literally only up to 4 women at a time. And I just wasn't like clicking with that particular community of women for whatever reason. It was just really a horrible experience. But the owners, instead of like, they obviously like weren't super self-aware, which you know but they ended up firing me and telling me that I was a great trainer, but I should really just only train like 1 or 2 people at a time. Well, one thing that you should know about me is you tell me I can't do something and that just lights my fire to show you that yes, the fuck I can. Boom. So I had an opportunity to apply for a gym that was large group training.
Wow.
And I went through this really grueling, like, I think it was like a 2-month process of interviewing and then training for the job. And there were like times where I didn't know if I was going to get the job. Like I was like struggling with like basically like stage fright and being in front of people and all that. And then I ended up getting the job, and then I just became better and better and better at training large groups of people. And I think to date, probably the largest group I've trained at one time was like over 60 people.
Wow.
At the same time. And
for an introvert, that is big.
Yeah. It was big. it was really big. And I did that. I worked that job for about 4 years. And yeah, so that was a huge one. Just awesome. Overcoming that, like someone telling you that you can't do something or that you shouldn't do something, and then like doing it. Yeah. Then like smaller moment. Well, they were big at the time, but don't need like huge stories. But you know, while I was building up my career, I was waitressing for like years before I was able to completely leave that and go full-time as a trainer. So becoming a full-time trainer, even though I had like, you know, more than one training job, it was still full-time training. That was a big one. And then, you know, in the more recent years, like having my own business, working, you know, mostly for myself is just
that's awesome. Yeah, you can't put a price on that. Like you having your own, you're basically your own boss. Like you are like on your path, on your timing. You know, like oftentimes when we fall into the big box gyms, which I've learned so much from them.
Yeah.
But oftentimes like you get pulled away from your path to better their agenda and be a cog in their system, right? So it's like always good to, yeah, that's nice. Spend time learning as much as you can under the veteran trainers and the knowledge that these institutions go out and research and get. And then you take those elements and then you just continue to build your own. Because at the end of the day, you're disposable once you're like within their system like that. Right. So always have your own your own to fall back to and build and create, because that never leaves. As long as you're breathing, you'll have you'll continue to strive to be better and better at that.
Absolutely.
So what's the next level for you? Where do you go from here?
Yes. I get so excited thinking about this. I mean, really just like scaling up like what I'm doing now and what I'm working on now. So by scaling, I mean like growing, eventually like adding, either like hiring on more coaches um, or continuing with collaborations. Uh, yeah, just like really scaling up to be able to help like a lot of people, as many people as
Yeah.
possible.
So tell us about your inner strength community. Like I've seen sort of like little details here and there, but if you could dive a little deeper for those who are like would be interested in joining the community or working with you in the future.
Yeah. So it's the community is like still growing. It's still a work in process, or a work in progress. But basically, the idea is to, like I said, I've been saying the whole time, like help as many people as possible. And um, I think that my own personal story is really relatable for a lot of people, and my heart is truly like, because I was like a beginner so late in life. Late, I mean, not really, like late 20s is whatever, but like
Mhm.
for people in this industry, they usually start early. So in
Yeah.
that regard, right? So my heart is really with beginners. So either people who um, uh, have never really paid attention to their health and fitness, or it never really stuck, or people who are returning after a long break. Like, I'm your person. Inner strength community is for you. I like to help people with the very beginning things, like what is the most important thing to be doing right now. Like, we can get really complicated. It can get very
Hmm.
complicated, right? But
Yeah.
like that's not how we create like progress over the long term, over a lifetime, right?
Hmm.
So, and then the name Inner Strength, I really focus a lot on like personal development. Like, that's a strong part, like getting your mindfulness in there, focusing on growth mindset, all of those things, because life happens. So it's not
Yeah.
enough to have a positive mindset, we must have a growth mindset. So yeah, I'll make sure that you guys can get some links to join in, tune in, and yeah, I do one Zoom class a week, just like a fun time for people to hop on Zoom and get a little like strength and conditioning in. Um, and then other than that, it's one-on-one coaching, um, which is remote.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll be sure to link that in the show notes down in the description. Um, Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story. It's like, again, so many people can benefit from that because it's like a similar path, right? We just happen to just go maybe 10 years sooner or 5 years sooner. But for those of people who are often transitioning from being a hairstylist or from being a waitress to the field, like what lies ahead for you so that you can make an informed decision, because it's not easy. It's like it's a journey, right? And a journey doesn't happen in a day or in a month. It takes years to develop these type of stories and get this type of information, right? So thank you for sharing that with us. Any parting words for the audience or the viewers?
Oh, don't give up. If it's really what you want to do, if you're really passionate about it, you will find a way. So don't give up.
Don't give up. All right. Thank you, Coach Mel, for joining us. Thank you
Thank you.
guys for watching. Um, I'll be sure, again, Fit Pros, if you are a fitness professional that happens to come across this content and you want to share your story, feel free to slide in my DMs or down in the comment box and share your stories for those who are seeking this type of knowledge. But until then, thank you once again for watching, and we'll holler on the next one. Peace.